Hello YouTube! Scott here, and I am back with another instant review. And this time it is She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Episode 4, which is entitled, Is This Not Real Magic? So as far as an overview, this is a pretty decent episode as things go. I was kind of expecting that whole, twist from the end of the last episode where we find out somebody is trying to somehow obtain She-Hulk's powers to be even mentioned. And it wasn't. It was back to actually a lot of courtroom procedural stuff, which is good because, She-Hulk is an attorney. It was actually much heavier on that than the action, although there was a good amount of that as well. I gotta say, though, this episode, for whatever reason, was the first time that I looked at She-Hulk and was like, this is not the best CGI. Which either means I've just been blind to it this entire time, or it's gotten worse over the episodes, and so much so that I actually noticed it. It could really go either way. So let's get to the plot, okay? So we start with this 2-bit magician who calls himself Donnie Blaze. I didn't particularly care for that part because I didn't care for the Ghost Rider movie, but, we all know his alter ego is named Johnny Blaze, and it smacks a little bit of unoriginality. So, Donnie was formerly a student at Camartage studying the mystic arts, but he wasn't very good at it. I believe he got kicked out, and now he does this, but he still has a sling ring. And we open with him using it with a drunk woman that's very clearly drunk woman in his audience named Madison. That's with 2 N's and a Y, but you never guess where. And he sends her into another dimension without really knowing what he's doing. Thankfully, she shows up at Wong's place, and that's how we wind up with the main plot of the episode, with Wong hiring She-Hulk to sue Donnie Blaze, to try and get him to stop from using actual magic. That's where the whole courtroom procedure comes from. They claim that magic can't be copyrighted, and unfortunately the judge agrees. So Donnie gets to keep using his sling ring. Isn't that great? Even though Wong is trying to stop him because if somebody who's not properly trained is opening portals between dimensions, it could literally destroy everything. Does that matter? Apparently not. So Donnie's very next show, he opens up yet another portal that he can't control and lets out actual demons. Seemingly indestructible demons. Possibly immortal. Maybe both. I don't know. And Wong needs She-Hulk's help just to trap them and to finally get Donnie to abide by the rules of the cease and desist order that they gave to him. When I think about it, that actually doesn't take up a whole lot of time. Huh. And to be honest, there wasn't a lot more than that to it. I'm trying not to go into full details on everything because then my videos get kind of long. I will say Madison is this typical drunk girl stereotype that kind of works. She kind of latches onto Wong and considers him a friend, even though she's continually spoiling The Sopranos for him, which you wouldn't think would be an issue this far after The Sopranos was on TV, but what do I know? Yeah. Okay, so then there's this whole second plot. Being She-Hulk is fine, apparently, but Jennifer is working on her love life. There's a scene where she's at the bar with Nikki, and I couldn't help notice the bar, it's called Legal Ease, which is a funny little play on words. So Nikki grabs Jennifer's phone while she's working on this case, even though, they're at a bar, she'd be having fun, and looks up her matcher profile, which is quite obviously supposed to be play on Tinder profile. And she just starts swiping right constantly, claiming, once you get matches, that's when the real filtering begins. And Jennifer goes on a series of cliched bad dates. There's really no redeemable qualities to any of these guys, including the one that wants to know way too much about her powers. Kind of superhero fetish. The kind of thing I was worried about with Pug, but we don't have to worry about that. Not until Jennifer decides to see if she can do better with a dating profile as She-Hulk, and kind of predictably, she does. You know, she has this line about, well, that's kind of discomforting for Jen, or whatever it was she said. And yeah, like the only guy she goes out on a date with as She-Hulk he's a nice guy. He's the cliched hot doctor. She's really into him. She actually gets pulled away from their date, which was where they wound up at her place by Wong to help deal with the demons. But anyway, the next day, you know, she's back to being Jennifer, making breakfast. Finds out on TV that Titania was freed from jail after being after all charges against her were dropped. And this guy, I don't even remember if he had a name, to be quite honest, comes out, realizes she's Jennifer again, and decides he has to go. So apparently even he has the superhero fetish. I mean, if you like him green, watch Star Trek. They got Orion women. And then right at the end of the episode, Jennifer gets served with a subpoena. It turns out Titania got her revenge against She-Hulk by trademarking the name She-Hulk and suing Jennifer for using it. So it looks like you're setting up a whole other court battle, which is good. I mean, a courtroom comedy, great. You know, people seem to like Ally McBeal back in the day. I wasn't particularly into it, probably because I was a teenager and didn't give a crap. But it will be interesting to see where this goes. And, I mean, we get more Jamila Jamil out of it. That's never a bad thing. And there's this mid-credits scene at the end where Wong and Madison are hanging out and they're watching This Is Us. Apparently they're just total besties now. She calls him Wongers. They're talking about what kind of drinks they've had. He mentions a drink that's vodka mixed with yak milk, and she wants to try it because, like, part of her character is that, like, almost every single time she was on screen, she had a drink in her hand and was clearly inebriated. Given the fact that she gave testimony during the courtroom scene, I would think Jennifer would actually have to watch out for that because, you know, you could point to her state of mind as not being able to give coherent testimony or whatever the legal term is. So anyway, despite all that jumping around, Jennifer's first appearance was, you know, breaking the fourth wall, saying, you know, you must be glad to see Wong come back because everybody loves Wong, and what'd she say? It gives like the show like a week's worth of Twitter armor. Which is kind of funny because in the last episode I thought she was saying that there wasn't going to be a cameo every week, and yet this episode like half revolved around Wong. Or could have been a cameo from her dad, who decided to come over and beef up the security at her house after those guys attacked her in the last episode. I didn't really care that much about that. It's a nice scene, you know, you want to see a dad looking out for his daughter, but I was just glad to see Mark Lynn Baker again. I mean, it's Mark Lynn Baker, come on. Anyway, I don't know if I would put this like as high as the other episodes this season, and I'm really hoping they're not going to cram all this stuff with, you know, some evil villain lurking in the shadows into like the last few episodes. I know we're only at episode 4 and there are 5 to go, but I'd like to think they could spread it out a little bit along with Jennifer trying to win court cases and figure out her love life. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she wound up with Pug, who's not in this episode. But anyway, that's what I think. How about you tell me what you think? You know, comment down below, like the video, share it around, subscribe if you want, hit the bell to be notified the next time I put a video up. You know, the usual YouTube stuff. And until next time, this has been an Instant Review, an offshoot of opinions no one cares about. Everyone has opinions. This one was mine.